All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with more reactions. Like I told the crowd in my One Piece reaction, apologies for this reaction being a little bit later in the day due to my prior obligations I had earlier today. But I thank you for your patience and your understanding. We got a new chapter of My Hero Academia, so let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way, shall we? Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another live reading of My Hero Academia. The last chapter we looked back on was basically the entire Todoroki family, except for Shoto, making their way towards where Toya and Endeavor are, and Rei, the mother, makes her way closer and closer to where Toya and Endeavor are, and she's using her frost quirk to mitigate the damage to herself, but she's slowly burning up because of Toya's immense heat. Then Natsu and Fuyumi show up, and then it cuts to them trying to reason with Toya before he explodes, because Endeavor's already resolved himself to go up into the sky and take himself out, along with Toya, so that they don't do anything to anyone else, and the only people who get caught in the explosion is Toya and himself. But the entire family is there. The entire family is there as they attempt to reason with Toya. And then it just ends the chapter with a shot of all the Todoroki family members except for Shoto there, in what seems to be like what could be. But then that's the end of the chapter. So let's get started with chapter 389, Assurance and Prayers. And it cuts to Rei, it cuts to Natsuo and the whole Todoroki family as they are point blank at the point where Toya is trying to explode. And you just see the outside of this massive blast wave, and it gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. The rapid rise in temperature at the epicenter is slowing down. Running the numbers again. No, it looks like... Wait, no! Temp's not dropping off! The explosion's inevitable! And it cuts to Rei, who's right there standing with Fuyumi and Natsu as they're using all the combinations. Because remember, Rei, Fuyumi, and Natsu all have ice-related quirks. And they're using their power in order to keep the heat from, fully engulfing them. Even though they're slowly getting cooked, they are literally slowly getting cooked. And then it cuts to Toya, who on the outside can't even say words anymore. He can only say like and he can't say words anymore. But Toya in his mind goes, "Everyone's watching me, so this is what it's like." As it cuts to Endeavor's face that is so horribly burned, you can't even tell the man got a scar from a Haya Nomu. That's how burned Endeavor's face is. His face is burned beyond recognition. His hair is burning. His face is burning. His scar is just completely non-existent at this whole point because his whole face is scarred now. If it was so simple a thing, then why? As it cuts to numerous people who are trying their best to run away from this explosion. And, well, it's not really them running away from the explosion. It cuts to the Gunga Mountains where it's still in the Gunga Mountains when... where all the Twice are fighting all the heroes. And then it cuts to, not Pixie Bog, but I want to say, is it Mandalay? I think it's the muscular of the Wild Pussycats goes, "Everyone retreat! Get yourselves out of the blast zone!" And then it cuts to Uraraka, who's facing down a Twice that has a knife. Because remember, one of these Twices is actually Himiko Toga, but it cuts to Uraraka, who's jumping over different Twices in order to get to her specifically. Why not sooner? And then it cuts to numerous people who are trying to run away from this explosion. Quick! No time to lose! Move those legs, Kendo! And then it cuts to the kindergarten teacher, where she's telling the children, "It's okay, children. We'll all be fine." As the kids are watching everything go down. And then it cuts to the kid as he goes, "Yeah!" Then it cuts to a news helicopter that's watching everything go on. And then it cuts to that same reporter that's, catching all this. Well, one of them anyway, thinking back to when Endeavor was inducted, was up in front and center with everyone, that when they found out that Dabi was actually his son, and he was proclaiming what he said during that time. And then it cuts to another areas where everyone is watching the news with bated breath. Everyone. There's no dialogue being spoken right now. Everyone is watching this whole thing go down. Everyone is watching this whole thing go down. And then it cuts to another individual who's praying. And then it cuts to something zipping. Something is zipping through the air at breakneck speeds. That it's moving so fast, you just see the trail it's left behind. But it's also a possibly frozen trail. And whatever's traveling this fast is traveling fast enough to create a sonic boom. And it cuts to the kids going, "Yeah, for sure, because after all..." Yo! And it's Iida and Shoto! And Shoto has basically created a facsimile jet shape made out of ice, with Iida using the propulsion from his engine to power them, and they are traveling at such speeds they are breaking sound barriers. And then it cuts to Shoto as the kid goes, "Yeah, for sure, because after all, we got 5 wieners on our side." Because remember, they called them wieners at first, when they first met Shoto and company. And Shoto is moving at such a speed. Shoto and Iida are moving at such a speed that Shoto's literal armor that's on his body is breaking off of him. That is how fast they're moving. They're moving fast enough for their armor to break off as they're speeding towards Toya. And that's the end of the chapter. See, I got through this chapter a lot quicker. Than I was expecting. Because part of me was expecting an explosion. But we got Shoto here with the most determined look on his face as he's moving at beyond breakneck speeds. Hold on. 389. Do they got a synopsis? Because I want to read it. Yes! There we go. The Counterforce reports in on how the rising in temperature of Dabi's Inferno is slowing down, thanks to the intervention of the Todoroki family. However, despite this, the temperature's not dropping, meaning the explosion is inevitable. At the center of the impending blast, Rei, Fuyumi, and Natsuo, they got it spelled wrong here. But Natsuo continue to unleash their frost quirks to try and cool Dabi down, while he cackles to himself. Dabi thinks about how everyone's finally watching him and looking at Endeavor. Realizes this is what it's like. Thinks about it if it was so simple, why it didn't happen sooner. The firebomb continues to ramp up, reaching the battle between the heroes and the twice doubles. Tiger calls out for everyone to retreat or they'll get caught in the blast zone, with Uravity still remaining to deal with Himiko. The heroes and the evacuated civilians continue to ride the robots in the vehicles, also attempting to escape from the explosion. Komari Ikoma tells the Masegaki primary school students everything will be alright, and watching the live broadcast on their tablet. Tamashiro happily agrees, while others all over like Hiroshi Tamada watch the broadcast, praying for the hero's success. Shoto and Ingenium zoom their way towards a location in their engine-powered ice jet, as Shoto readies his phosphor. Because in the chapter, Shoto's phosphor starts to envelop his body again. And remember, that's a new awakening of its quirk that allows him to combine both his abilities. And remember, the last time he used phosphor, he enveloped Toya in he hit Toya with such a massive glacier that it pretty much took up almost half of a city with how big the iceberg was. So with this phosphor, I feel like Shoto's gonna do the same thing again. Yo! Wait, so you're saying Shoto is gonna get stronger? It's a strong possibility. Yo, Midoriya Shonen, I am here. Christopher, I don't want to know anything about chapters, anything that could possibly happen with a chapter coming out next week. I don't look at early scans. I don't want to know anything, because then my reactions won't be as genuine if people are just trying to, tell me what's going to happen in the next chapter. I'm not interested in it. Don't tell me. I don't care. But yeah, here's the notes. The Todorokis continue to try and cool down Dabi, but are unable to prevent his impending explosion. The heroes fighting the Twice Doubles prepare to retreat, while Uravity and Himiko continue to fight. The heroes and civilians continue to evacuate from the fire blast. Shoto and Ingenia make their way over using a makeshift ice jet powered by engine and phosphor, and they are moving at breakneck speeds. It is completely ridiculous. So, while it seems like things are incredibly dire right now, even though things look like they could go very badly, the kids are all like, nah, everything will be fine because we got 5 winners on our side. They call them wieners, but we got 5 winners on our side. And Shoto and Ida are moving at such high speed while Shoto prepares to use phosphorus, which I'm thinking he's using at such a degree that it breaks his own hero clothes on the outside. Mind you, he still has a shirt on, but whatever armor he had on the outside, that breaks apart as he just activates phosphor. So, and we're not going on break for this chapter either, so I can't wait to see that chapter next week. Interesting chapter. There's not much else I can say about this chapter except it looks like things are getting bad, but now Shoto is really on his way. And that's actually ingenious when you think about it. Think about the amount of skill and how precise you have to be to create a facsimile jet around yourself and another person, and use both of your quirks together to make this thing not only fly, but move at such a speed that you're literally breaking sound barriers. You're literally breaking sound barriers. I can't wait to read next week's chapter. I don't know what's going to happen in next week's chapter, and like I said, I don't want to know. I don't ever want to know what's going to happen in a new chapter. Ever. But I can't wait to read the next one. Now my thing is, what is Shoto going to do? Is he going to use like his massive glacier quirk? Like, hold on. Let me go to Shoto and then go to his ultimate move with phosphor. Because, where is it? Because it has a very cool name. Yes! Great Glacial Eye Gear. Shoto builds up his fire and ice, rushes towards his opponent, hits them with his fists, and unleashes a massive wave of cold fire, able to extinguish the hottest of flames as well as cover a massive section of terrain completely in ice. So if he does this, because with his phosphor, Shoto circulates both halves of his quirk throughout his body, merging the fire and ice into one ability. This ultimate move also serves as a basis for other moves Shoto uses. So we got Cold Flames Pale Blade. Using the combined powers of phosphor, Shoto throws a piece of the conjoined fire and ice at his opponent, launching them a great distance away. But I feel like Shoto could do the Great Glacial Eye Gear again, and that could envelop Toya and allow him to be cooled off. So he's going Superman speed. I mean, he's breaking the sound barrier. They're breaking the sound barrier. They're moving at such a speed that you see the trail they leave behind, but you don't see them until you see them flying across the ocean, and they're kicking up so much water while they're flying over there. They are kicking up, and mind you, they're flying over, well, actually, they're not even flying over the ocean. They are just flying over concrete itself, but they're moving at such a speed that they're kicking up so much dust behind them. That's how fast they're moving. So now, one can only hope that Shoto gets there in time, but he's preparing phosphor. So I think he's going to use a Great Glacial Eye Gear again, or A Gear again, and freeze Toya. That's what I think he's going to do, because that's the most powerful ice move that he has. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes from there. I like this chapter. I like this chapter because it sets up some potentially good things that we can get next week. Now, we're not going on break next week for this, and we're not going on break for Jujutsu Kaisen either. So I'm looking forward to seeing those new chapters. And I know these reactions for My Hero and Jujutsu tend to not be too long, but this was a good chapter, and it just brings me hope, which is exactly what we need right now, because there were so many moments where things were just seeing like they were just going to be so bad, but we got Shoto coming in hot, really hot. And that gives me hope. And that's exactly what everyone needs right now. That hope. Hopefully he's able to get there before more of his family start to get cooked under the massive heat that Toya is putting out, and he's able to save them. But I feel like he may be able to. So, well, that's the reason why I'm looking forward to the next chapter more and more and more and more. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it a session here for my reaction. I thought it was a good chapter. I enjoyed it. And that feeling of despair is no longer as present as it was before, because Shoto and Ida are on their way, and they're there for one purpose, and that's to stop Toya. So next week's chapter should be very interesting if we remain on what Shoto's doing, or maybe we cut to someone else like Uraraka up against Himiko Toga. It should be interesting to see where we go from there. But that's where I'm going to call it a session. Got one more chapter to react to, and that's the newest Jujutsu Kaisen chapter. I can't wait to read that one. So, to everyone here, all I can say at the end of the day is, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, share this stream with everyone you know, because the more the merrier. And maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later peoples, on to Jujutsu Kaisen!